John Paulson made Wall Street's most lucrative trade of all time. Paulson's bet on the collapse of some prime mortgages in 2007 earned his firm $15 billion, the largest one-year payout in the history of financial markets. Paulson's 2007 performance rocketed him to the ranks of superstar managers. At its peak, his firm managed $38 billion, making it one of the largest hedge funds in the world. Paulson has yet to repeat the success that made his fortune. Recently, he joined the list of industry legends to quit the hedge fund business, converting his fund into a family office. He's also enjoyed giving away his fortune. He pledged $400 million to Harvard University and donated $100 million to the Central Park Conservancy. In a recent interview with journalist Alain Elkann, Paulson talked about the dedollarization trend and advised people and investors to be better off owning gold than dollars. According to John A. Paulson, gold will appreciate in value when the value of the US dollar declines. That is the view of the hedge fund management. For the current year, the next 3 years, and the following 5 years is as follows.
There has been a significant increase in demand from central banks to replace dollars with gold. And I think we're just at the beginning of that trend.
You believe that the gold is going to go up and the dollar down, right?
Yeah. To summarize, for these reasons that are articulated, I think gold will go up and the dollar will go down. So in terms of keeping your investment reserves, you'd be better off keeping them in gold at this point.
Paulson sees the possibility for gain in gold and advises taking a patient approach. He emphasized the de-dollarization trend and pointed out that gold is luring new investors due to persistent inflation fears and rising geopolitical tensions.
And I think the trends are towards de-dollarization. However, the dollar is still very dominant in terms of reserves and trade. So it's a trend, but it'll take a while to happen. U.S. is not quite the powerhouse it was anymore as a post-World War II economy. The share of GDP has come down, of world GDP, and likewise the emergence of Asia, particularly China, as an alternative economic power has risen. And there's a desire on other countries not to rely on the dollar as much as they have in the past. The other major change contributing to de-dollarization is the enormous deficit the U.S. has with the rest of the world in terms of trade and investment balances. So it used to be very positive, which gave strength to the dollar, but now it's very negative, both on a cumulative and annual basis.
In addition to appreciating against other currencies, the U.S. dollar is also experiencing depreciation, according to Paulson, who cited inflation, fiscal spending, earlier quantitative easing, and huge money creation.
For instance, if you had dollars and you had 9% inflation this year, you lost 9% of your money. Interest rates were nowhere close to compensating for that loss. So that is driving investors, central banks around the world to look for an alternative reserve currency. And in that regard, gold is arising again. I say again because it's been the reserve currency of the world for thousands of years as a legitimate alternative to holding the dollar or other paper currencies.
A trustworthy alternative to the dollar and other forms of fiat money is gold. Additionally, nations like China are aware that dollar reserves can be blocked due to the growing threat of penalties.
If you keep your money in fiat currencies, you face the risk due to geopolitical events that your reserves can be seized, is what the central banks did with Russia. So you probably have China thinking, we have so much of our reserves in dollars. If we get into a geopolitical spat with the Western world over Taiwan or something else, is there a possibility they'll freeze our reserves or national savings like they did with Russia?
The billionaire said that with actual gold, there is no such risk and a very good chance that the value of the reserves of precious metals will increase.
And I think that, we're at the beginning of that stage, and depending on inflation and geopolitical tensions will determine, the rate at which gold increases over I would say this year, the gold will depreciate versus the dollar. and also over a 3, 5, and 10-year basis.